Hello everybody and welcome to Insight of the Night. This is a podcast series where we're going to be talking about relevant topics to the time that these podcasts are created. My name is Ben. I am with my co-hosts Jay and Harrison. Introduce yourselves, please.
Hello guys, how are you getting on?
Hello.
Today we're going to be discussing Bohemian Rhapsody, the most recent phenomena in the cinema industry. So, what do you guys think about it?
Personally, I thought it was a very good film from start to finish. As a casual fan of Queen and Freddie Mercury's work, it really did give me a good insight into his personal life, and his musical life, and how he creates music, and how he started off, and how his family. I didn't even know he was engaged, for example. He was engaged to a woman before he confessed to being gay, and really gave me a good insight. Rami Malek did a great job, and it was a really good film.
Okay.
Yeah, great. I really liked it. I'm not really I went through this bit where I wasn't really a massive Queen fan. I listened to a lot of their songs when I was little, but then as I got older, stopped listening to it as much. But the film sort of encouraged me to re-listen to some of their music, and I got back into them as a band, so that was really nice. And the film as a whole was really good. Rami Malek is great. It was nice to see how their career sort of played out up until Live Aid. Yeah, it was really good.
I thought they did a phenomenal job, especially Bryan Singer, who leapt on as the director. He took over the film. But I thought it was a really good film, honestly. As a Queen fan myself, I thought it was pretty phenomenal. Rami Malek, who played Freddie Mercury, phenomenal job. Brian Hardy, who plays Roger Taylor, phenomenal job. They all did so well, especially the cameo from Mike Myers, which I don't think any of us were expecting.
No, it was a very good cameo. It part really well.
Sorry, I kept interrupting. I did know he was part of the cast, but I didn't know who he'd be playing because I looked at the cast when the first trailer came out. So yeah.
Oh, fair.
As I've already reiterated, I was a really big Queen fan, so I watched the trailer once and thought, oh, okay. And then obviously we went as a three. We all went together to watch the film, and it blew me away. It was a very good film, and it just gave me insight to his private life and his struggle with getting to the top, and his complacency when he was at the top, and breaking up the band, and then realising what he'd done and coming back together, and then obviously going to Live Aid, and then that's where the film finished. Spoiler alert.
I think the spoiler. I think the standout actors for this film were definitely Rami Malek, Willem Lee, who played Brian May. He did a phenomenal impersonation. It was really great. And Lucy Boynton, I think that's how you pronounce her name. She played Mary Austin, who was Freddie Mercury's first lover. I think she did a really good job conveying the emotional struggle of realising that the love of her life, little pun there, was actually gay, and they couldn't really be together. I did like that aspect of the film.
It was a really good film with a great with a great story.
I do feel like they had they did a lot of promoting for the film. If you guys didn't know, they actually did a thing on it was like an app where you could record yourself singing a song, like one of the Queen songs, and then it'd be put actually into the Live Aid performance, and they'd make an amalgamation of all of it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So a million people or so would have sung the lyrics on their phone and sent it in, and then they would have most likely been put into the film as an amalgamation to make the crowd Live
I
Aid.
didn't know that it was that heavily promoted, but I knew it was promoted quite well, but I didn't know it was that in depth.
Pretty good.
Yeah, it earned on day one £1.62 million at the box office, and I don't know if that's worldwide, but either way, that is a pretty phenomenal amount of money.
Was it released worldwide on the day, on the same day as everybody? Or was it released?
Actually, I think it was. Just released in the UK, and it's being released on November 1st in America, I think.
In the US, so obviously that bringing a big fan base as well.
Oh yeah,
gonna rack in a lot of money.
Falling, but definitely I think that going to see Queen myself live, I feel like now those tickets are going to be a lot harder to go and get because so many more people are going to be drawn
I
into
think
Queen.
yeah, I think more people like other than diehard Queen fans. I think the casual fans or even film fans, they've attracted different Queen. Have attracted different audiences now, whether it be film fans or just casual fans, and they've attracted a wider audience.
Now, Jay, I don't know if you agree, but I feel like I feel like the fans will be more likely to go because now they're on a more of an emotional level with Freddie because now they know his like full story. Jay, would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was I felt a lot of sympathy towards him during
The film.
I mean, I've watched a
Isolation.
documentary about him, but it didn't really give me as much depth as the film did, to be fair, and his real struggle with drink and drugs, and obviously him contracting AIDS. And I felt really empathetic towards Freddie Mercury and his struggle. It was a really good story.
Yep, agree.
Yeah. Jay,
Right,
do you think
guys.
that they'll? Oh, okay.
Did you think there was anything could be changed to make it that little bit better?
Jay, what do you think?
I think maybe there should be a bit more focus on the actual band and their progression of their career because I feel like it was mostly down to Freddie. And I know that it's supposed to be about Freddie, but I also think that maybe if they'd have spent a bit more time on Queen as a whole and their actual career all throughout and the actual progression they made, it might have been. I might have just liked that a bit more. Because the thing with it was that like they were a bit brief in many areas and focusing mostly on Freddie's sexuality and stuff, which is fine. They did it really well.
I mean, I knew, since I'm like a die-hard fan, since I know all this stuff, it was nice to see like an actual visual representation of what I knew, and like because that's the closest that I would ever get to seeing how they were formed. I mean, I do think that I do like the fact that they did focus on both aspects of the story, both the forming of Queen and Freddie's sexuality in this case, because although we know about the fact that Freddie was gay, not a lot of people like knew, and that's why there was so much controversy surrounded by him, like media pressing him, saying like, "Are you gay? Are you bisexual?" Like really trying to claw it out of him. I mean, even to his like last days, he'd have to go to the doctors to get like medication for his AIDS. He'd have to go at like 3 o'clock in the morning just so press wouldn't be outside of his house. So, I mean, in that way, I kind of wish
in
they
that
did
scene. There was a scene in the middle of the film, and I'm not going to explain a lot about it in case people haven't seen it that are watching. There's a film where he's having a press meeting with all different media companies and organisations, and you can really you start to feel uncomfortable when
I'd agree.
the camera zoomed in on Rami Malek's face, and they're asking all questions about sexuality in the band and everything, and he's trying to give like the least amount of answers as possible, and he starts to feel really uncomfortable, and it made me feel uncomfortable. That it felt like the press were almost talking to me and trying to press me out of a question, even if the question wasn't relevant to what I was believing. It still felt like they were pressing me to answer something. It made me feel really uncomfortable. I really liked it at the end, but at the time I felt really uncomfortable.
Yeah, I mean, like even though like the in like the actual film it was Brian, but Gwen and me. Lee, sorry. He when he was like, it's all about the music. Let's have a question about the music, and yet the press was still like, "Are you gay? What sexuality are you?" And like it was just like really in your face. I mean, for me, and I'm pretty sure for Harrison, as I said previously, that you felt like sort of trapped in your own body. You were sort of like didn't know what to do, even though it wasn't directed at you.
Thinking about it now, it's really disrespectful for the media to do that, because they're not really thinking on what Freddie's created, and they're just thinking based on his sexuality. That's what they want out of him. They're not thinking about like his songs and his creativity. They're just thinking about his sexuality, which is quite disrespectful to us.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, with the story, I know you guys I feel like you guys slightly disagree on this, but I feel that we should have been given more to the story. Like I said that I wanted to see him like his full story.
Right the way up until he died.
Right in the way up until he died, because then
I agree with that.
Because then you can see the amount of struggle that he went through even like after he contracted AIDS, you could see the struggles that he went through, the having to go to the doctors at like 3 o'clock in the morning just so the press wouldn't hammer him. Literally, I'm not even joking. At one point, he got his chauffeur to drive a dummy around London so the press would think that was him, so he'd have some time to go outside. So,
I mean, when did I don't know what year Live Aid was. Do you know what year Live Aid was? It was in the 80s, and he died in 91.
Yeah.
So it was good.
Live Aid was
6 years.
1985.
85. So it was 6 years before he died. The film finished 6 years before his death.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think they could have gone a little bit further with that and gone up right until the day he died.
But then that would have been like a 4.5 hour film.
It would have been a long film. And
I mean, unless
I think
they
they
want
kept
to bring
it
out
short and
part
sweet.
2. Yeah.
Yeah, they kept it short and sweet and like really punchy, if you know what I mean. They didn't.
Yeah, they wanted to go out on a
They
high
didn't drag it out and make it uninteresting. They kept the audience interested. And it was a really good film.
They did even bring like certain songs that weren't necessarily popular throughout the film. I'm trying to think of the song. That's it. I'm in love with my car by Roger Taylor. Taylor wrote that song.
That was.
I love the joke. I love the joke that.
And like that, they even like delved into songs that weren't necessarily that popular. And so, in some ways, I've seen people say that Bohemian Rhapsody is just the best hits accompanied by a film, but I disagree with that.
Yeah, so do I. I believe. Like for example, I'm in love with the car. I've never heard of that song whatsoever before, and it's a very random song. Yes, and they made jokes about it throughout the film between the group, between band members, and it was kind of an ongoing joke throughout the film, and it was a really funny ongoing joke. And they had a fight over it about a little scuffle to do with the song, and then after that it was an ongoing joke. Yeah, and it was very good. It was. It really gave an insight into what he was like as a person as well. Yeah,
I mean, even like at one point, like towards like sort of halfway before Live Aid, he was like getting really egotistical. He was like, no, spoiler alert here, guys. Like he says, "You're nothing without me."
He got really complacent, didn't he? I didn't even know that, but he got really complacent.
And he got like really egotistical, and then you get to see like his life without them and how isolated it was, because they're the only family he's got, because they've all got like children, wives, and he hasn't. So you really see the isolation build up in him.
Yeah.
And that's why he gets
to be honest, from watching the film and watching those scenes after he left Queen and went solo for a while, I really thought that was the beginning of the end for him. I really think that's what led to his ultimate demise. But yeah. Also, I believe they toned down on a lot of the gay sexual activity.
Yes, definitely.
And personally, to fit the age rating, probably because it was a 12A, and it probably would have had to go up to a 15 rating. So they toned that down, probably to attract a
younger audience
more
and a
young
larger
audience
demographic.
to approach to a wider audience.
There's a music video called, it's by Freddie, it's one of his solo songs, it's called I'm Living on My Own, and you really see the actual extent. Like there's a scene in the film where Freddie's having a party, and that's the party where he filmed this music video. But in the film it's very tame, everyone's just standing around having a drink. But then once you see this music video, you see really how wild these parties were, and it's drastically different. To what you see in the film, like drastically. If you don't believe me and you've seen the film, look up the song. It's called I'm Living on My Own, and you'll just see the difference.
I did watch it. I did watch it with you the other day, and it was there was a complete difference, and it was definitely toned down. And there was emotional bit towards the end. I didn't really think of it at the time, but at the Live Aid concert, have a spoiler alert, when he sings Bohemian Rhapsody, and obviously the lyrics, and he's really like punching the lyrics out towards the end, like for example, goodbye everybody, I'm about to go, and the audience can tell it's coming towards the end of the film, and they start to feel real sympathy for him because they realise he's coming to the end.
While we're on the topic of Live Aid, I really liked not only did they use the audio from the actual Live Aid event and like recreated it with the performance in the film, but also I like the selection of songs they used. They only used 4 songs. They used Bohemian Rhapsody, Radio Gaga, Hammer to Fall, and We Are the Champions. And I think We Are the Champions was a great closer to it.
Well, the thing is that in their actual performance, did they sing Crazy Little Thing Called Love in the film?
I don't
that was in
think
the
they
actual
did.
Live Aid performance.
I don't think they did. No,
they did. That wasn't in the Live Aid performance in the film. No.
They only had 4.
It was just four of them. That.
Yeah. Oh, fair enough then. With the vocals, they actually did an amalgamation of 3 people. So they obviously did Rami Malek. He actually got singing lessons for the film, like obviously to try and sound like what's it called, Freddie Mercury, and then obviously, I'm trying to think of his name. I forgot his name. Damn it! Well, the guy that does the Queen Extravaganza, he's got like a similar sort of vocal range, and their face shape is very similar.
You talk about Adam Lambert or?
No, it's this other guy. But he does like the official tribute for Queen.
Okay.
And like their face shape and everything like that is so similar that he can sing like exactly like Freddie. And so they just amalgamated all 3 of them and put them into the film.
Yeah, I know it seems a bit of a weird question. You might not know. Were those actually Rami Malek's teeth, or were they false?
No, they were
fake.
They were like a retainer sort of thing. That you could just put in
Which is because he made a reference to it, and because he didn't want to get them put braces on or sort them out because he had a bigger range, didn't he? He had a wider range.
No, he didn't want to remove his, because he had 4 extra teeth on the top, and he didn't want to remove it because there's more, like with his overbite, it allowed for more like vibrato in his mouth.
Oh, okay.
And he didn't want to ruin that by getting his teeth fixed.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be that on a high note. If anyone else has anything to say about the film.
Well, you did have critics as well. You had critics' opinion on it.
Oh yeah, not like that.
Critics' opinion. I was looking at critics' opinion the other day, and
Cricket's opinion.
Crickets.
I was looking at critics' opinion, and Rotten Tomatoes rated it at 59%, which surprised me. It is now recent. I'm just checking now. It's recently gone up to 53%, but only 2% difference. And IMDb, I've rated it 8.4 out of 10, which is understandable because that's probably around the rough rating I would give the film. But 53% really surprised me.
But then Metacritic gave it a 50, so it's even worse. I mean, the thing is that
their average results though, they're not actual. That's not like the official score or anything. It's like an average of the amount of critics who actually like it. So it's hard, not really accurate to go by. Yeah, because I checked the actual reviews, and they're actually like half of the people gave it a positive review and half gave it a negative review. So it was kind of just mixed. It wasn't like most of the people think it's smack bang in the middle, but it's just one of those things where you're gonna love it or you're gonna hate it. I feel like.
Yeah. I mean, with the film, like, since it showed their earlier sort of playful stuff with like chucking rocks through windows and stuff like that, I feel like the audience really did like that because the audience have given it like raving reviews.
Yeah.
So,
one thing I did see before the film, though, was that apparently there was like outrage, because there were some people that were concerned it might not show Freddie's sexuality, but that's completely been debunked when the film comes out, because that's what most of the film is actually about. So I feel like that entire outrage was a bit unnecessary.
It was always an ongoing topic, wasn't it? It was always there.
Yeah.
No matter if it wasn't on the screen right then, it was always there.
Because Sacha Baron Cohen wanted to like really ramp up the sexuality and like the gayness, like the gay, like he wanted to ramp up like gay jokes apparently, and he really wanted to like ramp up the sexuality in the film.
Yeah.
So I'm glad he didn't do that, and plus Brian May and Roger Taylor wouldn't have allowed it. So
No.
I prefer Brian May.
Yeah.
The film was based off their accounts of Queen, wasn't it, and Freddie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that even though John Deacon, who's the bassist of Queen, even though he's like left Queen, I'm pretty sure he must have had some sort of talks with Brian May and Roger Taylor over certain events and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But obviously, it's word of mouth So I'm not saying that they are lying, but I feel like some things may possibly have been twisted during the films.
And this also seems it could be a just a flash in the pan at the moment, but it seems like this is a kickstart of a trilogy. Not a trilogy, sorry, that was the completely wrong word. A kickstart of individual performers' films. So you've got Elton John's film coming out next year. Yeah, got Rocket Man coming out next year. So that could be a kickstart for individual performance films. Like other artists, we might find a Jackson film.
Yeah,
I'm
like
pretty
that.
sure we will one day. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll probably be politically correct whiteface included, you know, and like prosthetic makeup and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure if they do continue with this sort of regime of films about famous musicians, there'll definitely be. I feel like there may be a Nirvana one about Kurt Cobain.
Yeah.
It's got quite an interesting story. They may just do like all the rock classics. Like they may do Bowie, they may do Hendrix. There's
Presley.
a whole load of people that they could do films on.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Shall we
On to the next topic.
on to the next topic? Red Dead Redemption 2.
Red Dead Redemption 2. What are your initial thoughts on this game?
Right. So I got it day one. So I've been playing it today, and I really am enjoying it. I know this isn't my review, but IGN did give it a 10 out of 10. And since I haven't played that much of it, I don't really agree yet. But it seems that the gameplay is smooth. There's no frame rate drops or anything like that. So it is a smoothly running game, and it's not like a broken mess like GTA 5 was on release. Because they've actually excluded, if you guys didn't know, they've excluded online apparently for the first 2 weeks, and then they'll bring in a beta. They're doing this so the game doesn't have like loads of money glitches when it gets released, like GTA 5 did with their online, and you got like so much money from modded lobbies.
Did you get the first Red Dead Redemption?
No, I did not get the first Red Dead Redemption, but it has been confirmed that the main character from Red Dead Redemption, the first one, is in the game, and I can agree with that. He is in the game. But overall, the campaign is very enjoyable from what I've played. I've only played around 3 chapters, but that's still a pretty long while with also exploring and hunting and stuff like that. But there is a nice cinematic option for when you're moving. So instead of just moving your character, looking around with your actual analog stick, you can do a thing called cinematic mode. And when you're running or like riding, the camera angles will like change and make it look like it's almost in a film. And there are certain times where even just for a brief moment, you're like, this is picture perfect. This is like almost as if someone has just gone out on a horse in a cowboy outfit and started riding on a mountain. But the graphics are really good. Graphics are amazing. Way better than GTA 5's.
I was just looking at some reviews now, and they're all very positive. They're saying Red Dead Redemption's brilliant. It's a great game. Do you think it's going to be a contender for Game of the Year?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Do. Oh yeah, definitely. It'll be up there with Spider-Man. God of War came out this year, didn't it? Just to confirm.
Quick thing though, on God of War, I played God of War, and I actually don't think it's that amazing. I'm not gonna lie, because I have the game, and I can't get into it the same way I can get into like Spider-Man, which is my game of the year, for me anyway.
Do you reckon this could take top spot? Do you think Red Dead Redemption can take it away?
Apparently, Red Dead Redemption 2, and this isn't about Spider-Man, sorry, but apparently Red Dead Redemption 2 and Black Ops 4 are in competition for Game of the Year, allegedly.
Why's Black Ops 4
are they
up
neck
there?
and neck, or is it? Do you know if they're neck and neck or?
No idea.
I doubt neck and neck. I doubt neck and neck. I feel like.
I mean,
it's probably just based on sales at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, based on sales. Well, at the moment, it'd probably be based on sales. It'd probably be Black Ops, seeing as it's been out for longer.
Yeah. But yeah, it's got a really, from what I played, the characters are really likable, like surprisingly likable. You can really relate to them, and also your character is likable as well. So in it sort of has a morality system where you can choose at certain events to, I'm not going to say too much, but where you can choose to kill certain people or spare them. And obviously, in this game, whatever actions you take, other people will react to you differently if you go down a certain path. So for me, I'm going down like a darker sort of playthrough, like a bad morality, because that's the sort of playthrough that I want to go down, because I feel like you'll get more of a rich gameplay.
I mean, it gives the gamer a choice, doesn't it? It gives the gamer a choice. It allows you to be more free with the game. Anything you would change about this? Anything? Any aspects, whether it's cinematic or campaign?
At the moment, I don't really have any flaws. Actually, no, I do. I have one flaw. But this is obviously just like mechanics based. So it feels like it's like the same engine, I believe, as GTA 5.
Yeah.
But there is a new physics sort of system or physics tweaking. So the gameplay's less floaty. So in GTA, you know, when you were running and then you jumped fairly high.
Yeah.
In Red Dead Redemption, you don't jump that high anymore. And in GTA, since you have like, I think it's just because GTA has cars, but you could like go up like hills and stuff like that pretty fast, even if they're fairly steep. But since you're riding horseback, you can't.
Is it more realistic in that term?
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely more realistic.
You got to be careful with your horses because they can die in the game.
So, question, review: is it worth the money?
It is definitely worth. For me personally, I say yes, it is worth the money. The realism in the game is phenomenal. I told Jay about this earlier, Harrison, but when I was playing, I was hunting and I got my bow and arrow and I shot a mountain goat, I believe it was, in the side, like in its side, and I ran over to it because I thought, I'll just like loot it, get the hide and everything and walk off. Just like every game is, like you shoot it, you pick up because it's dead. But in this game, you can just mortally like wound animals. So I walked over to it and it was like squealing really loudly and it was like moving and it was gushing with blood. And when I killed it, I felt really bad about it because it was so lifelike. I genuinely felt like remorseful for stabbing this goat and skinning it alive. Not alive, like I sort of killed it and then skinned it, but I felt really bad after it. So that just shows the realism in the game.
It sounds very, very realistic. I will look into purchasing this game. It sounds really good.
Jay, what do you think about it?
Well, it looks great. I cancelled my Fallout 76 pre-order to get it, and I know that I'm an idiot for pre-ordering that in the first place because it doesn't actually look that great, and I feel bad saying that because I love Bethesda, but it looks a bit bland. But I'll definitely pick it up at some point because I now got the money that I saved from the pre-order on that game to pay for Red Dead 2, so that should be good. And I saw something. Rockstar apparently expect Red Dead 2 to outsell GTA 5 eventually, which is.
I feel like it will.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. To be honest.
I don't know if it will outsell, but I still expect it to sell at, around equally eventually because GTA 5 sold around 100 million, so it's kind of hard to top.
And it had both generations as well.
Yeah, but it's kind of hard. Yeah, it's kind of hard to top that, so I don't think it's going to outsell, but I feel like it will get like.
Is this game only for new gen?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Unless they keep it running for PS5.
That wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me. They released the PC version for GTA 5 2 years later, I think. So.
Yeah. Well, there's definitely going to be a lot of mods for PC support in that game. Sure.
If Rockstar doesn't cancel them.
Yeah, if they don't.
One thing I'm concerned about with Red Dead Online is how are the missions going to work in that, because they're going to be a lot different from GTA, I assume.
I feel like they're just going to be like train heists, and then you can take out certain areas.
Horse races. Horse races,
yeah.
Your super horses.
Super horse.
Yeah.
Because so with horses, you actually have a bond with your horse. So the more you ride it, the more it sort of likes you, and like the faster it will go, the more endurance it has, the more health it has, that type of situation. So if you feed your horse, you clean your horse, then you will get that bond with that horse, and it will rank up.
Yeah.
So It's a pretty nice way to sort of have a character that doesn't speak, but you can feel the emotion off of it.
Yeah, I
But
understand what you're saying.
It's a really cool mechanic. I like it because it just adds the realism to the game.
Yeah, and I'm looking at some gameplay right now, and it looks very smooth and really realistic, and it's a great play.
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty good from what I've played.
They're definitely worth the money.
Definitely worth the money. I didn't buy any special edition or anything like that.
How much was the special edition?
Oh, I think it was like £70, but I didn't want to bother getting it because I just didn't see the point. I mean, so what? You get an extra horse that's like slightly faster, which they're probably just going to release anyway.
Yeah,
later on down the line. So you might as well just buy it in game when it comes out.
Yeah, I will definitely look into purchasing it because it does sound very smooth, realistic, and definitely a contender for Game of the Year.
Yeah,
definitely.
When it comes out for GTA, I'm on GTA Online. Red Dead 2 Online comes out. We should totally do like a Red Weetos gaming thing, shouldn't we? Out of it.
Yeah.
But with it, what's it called? So the game, you can easily play it. So they've continued the first-person mode off of GTA 5, and you can definitely play this game in first person if you wish. Personally, for me, I prefer playing in third person.
Does it look good in first?
It just sort of looks like how GTA does in its first person.
Because I know when GTA came out with the first person, that was a big revelation with the first person view on things, and everybody was enjoying it.
I feel like it does add like a new sort of, like you could almost do it as a whole different playthrough if you played it in a different way.
Definitely.
Jay, have you got anything to add, or
not really? Just
no?
Just I will get it when I get the money. Well, I mean,
I
I
will
have
definitely
Get it.
look into purchasing the game.
Oh, good. I don't have anything further to add, so I feel like this is going to conclude the podcast.
Yeah,
yes,
the podcast.
well, podcast thing
great.
though, because this was about 20 minutes. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, everyone, thank you so much for watching and listening. I mean, listening. Thank you so much if you did make it this far, and we hope that we will see you in our next podcast. And thank you so much for checking in. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.